I'm already calling it. This video might piss some people off, but screw it, I'm gonna give my 2 cents. How many characters here have a way to bypass Gojos Infinity? Now, first off, I'm gonna start in the top left, go across, then to the next row and next row, just so you guys know where I'm going. So first off, Midoriya. Unless you agree with that whole sentiment of gear shift and how that would like accelerate his speed to get through Infinity or something, Midoriya has no way of getting through it. Unless you agree to that sentiment, he doesn't have anything that's going to get through the likes of Infinity. Now next up, we've got Saitama, and this one I'm not sure about. Because sure, his whole gimmick is basically endless growing potential at an exponential rate. And due to the whole thing where he was able to move a subspace gate, maybe that would allow him to do something with Infinity, but I'm not quite sure. So, Saitama's a maybe for me. Now with Asta, this entirely depends on if you think the likes of anti-magic would pretty much make his swords function like the inverted spear of heaven in a sense. Or, in a more simple term, if you think the likes of cursed energy is close enough in functionality to the likes of magic, that anti-magic would affect it. Or, more simpler terms, just give him Yami's sword. Because I believe if he has Yami's blade, he can use the Dimension Slash imbued with anti-magic. And with the Dimension Slash alone, he'd be able to carve through Gojos Infinity like it wasn't even there. Next we got Luffy, and I know Gear 5 has some ridiculous abilities, but I don't think it has anything to deal with the likes of Infinity. Now, that is one thing, but I think Conqueror's Haki might be able to do something. It mainly just depends if you think the likes of Conqueror's Haki would be able to be sensed or affected by Infinity. Because the thing about Conqueror's Haki is it's basically just your willpower being shot out like an aura. And unless you think Infinity can block out aura, then maybe Conqueror's Haki would be able to get through Infinity and affect Gojo. Next we got Meliodas. And this one, again, I sound like a broken record, is a maybe, because the commandments might be a bit ridiculous with their hacks, and a few of them, depending on how Gojo plays things, might actually cause his own attacking of Meliodas to backfire on him. Next with Ichigo, call me a fake fan, but I don't know anywhere near enough of his techniques to really give my opinion on him. So in terms of attacks, I'm not really sure if he has anything to get through Gojo's Infinity, besides just pure raw power. But in terms of the likes of his spiritual energy and just spiritual pressure, I think the power difference between him and Gojo might be able to take down Gojo without him even really needing to touch him. And I know, people hate the whole spiritual pressure argument, but in this case, I think the power difference between Ichigo and Gojo is big enough that it is a factor. Next, this is by far the easiest one on the list, Naruto. Truth-seeking orbs. Specifically, if we're using the version shown, he has truth-seeking orbs. And those things would just shoot through Gojo's Infinity like it was nothing. Now Goku. No matter who I say for this one, people are gonna be mad at me, but I'm just gonna go with Goku. He's way too fast, way too strong. He has attacks that can basically atomize people. And no, I'm not talking about the whole thing of Goku blowing up the planet. I'm not talking about him out of character. But we do know Goku has the incomplete Hakai. And yes, although it is incomplete, I think that could be one of the ways that he gets through Infinity. And maybe the likes of instant transmission, he'd be able to teleport himself directly onto Gojo, effectively bypassing Infinity via the hacks of instant transmission. Now, he probably has maybe other ways to do so, but I'm not sure if those would factor in really. And lastly, we have Natsu. And one of the biggest things I think of why I think he gets through Infinity is his event where he burned through a pocket dimension's time. This next one might be a bit controversial to some people, but I think Natsu can. And my main argument is the fact that Natsu burned through a pocket dimension's time, allowing him to break out of it. And since Gojo's Infinity effectively infinitely divides the speed of whatever's coming closer to him, effectively making them infinitely slower so they never meet him. Meaning, I think Natsu would quite literally be able to burn through Infinity to get to Gojo. Now, out of these 9 characters, who do you agree with me on? Who do you disagree with me on? Try to be somewhat civil in the comment section. And if you especially disagree with me, don't be a jerk about it, because these are just my opinions. At no point in this video am I trying to state anything that I mentioned as an objective fact.